Aloha. We are live this morning from Maui and my sister from Seattle. This is Psychic Sisters live chat, and I see we already have someone here, and I've already butchered her name. Jamie, I am so sorry. So Jamie chimed in already. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. We are, I'm so happy to announce that we are rebooting Psychic Sisters. We are doing this on the first Fridays of the month now, and this will be our regular time unless something else pops up. So, not sure where you are right now, but I know where I am. Thank you so much, Jamie. We're really happy to have you here.
Yeah.
And so, since it's been a while, how are you this morning, Penny?
Well, I'm already deep into communication today. I just had an hour session with someone that's on the East Coast regarding their beloved dog that passed tragically.
Okay. And so you're wide awake and you're up and running. So let's do this. Here we have, before we get into that, and we will, I would like, since it's been a while since we've been on, I thought we would do a little bit of review of the year so far, what 2022 has brought us. Oh my goodness.
Who's here?
Good morning, Gerald. Or it may be afternoon for you. I think you are on Eastern time. So aloha. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, we're going to do a little bit of year in review. What has 2022 brought us? Because you guys haven't seen Penny for a while, and we're also going to talk a little bit about how, as mediums, what it's like for newly crossed souls with communication, because we thought that would be kind of interesting.
It is very.
And since Penny is wide awake and ready to rip on the heels of her awesome reading, would you like to do a little grounding for us?
That would be great. Oh, we're going to go like full on Maui grounding here. Okay, so everyone take a nice deep breath. And we're going to send all our energy down into the earth, but we're going to touch on Pele today because we all need to be just a little fired up in our lives right now. And we're going to come back up. We're going to bring all that loving, fiery energy into our heart and send it shooting out all around us 360 degrees as we go deeper into our state and ask for her loving sister, Namaki, to give us the courage to go with the flow, even when we are all fired up and ready to roll. So to remember, we're still going to be present in our lives, excited about what we're doing, yet going with the flow of the current times and changes. So take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. So it is.
So it is.
So it is.
Lovely. Thank you.
I will tell you, Pele and Namaki just don't usually hijack me for this. So this has been a good one.
Cool. That sounds.
They usually come in on the end. So they're right in the forefront today.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So just before we get even deeper, just to get everyone caught up on us, I wanted to just kind of touch on how has the year been for us, the gifts that it's brought and the surprises that it's brought, because I don't think any of us knew what really to expect. I'm sure I knew what I hoped for with this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So what about you, Pen? Has the year been what you thought it would be?
No, not at all. because how should we say it? The quest to find my tribe as the drag along was a very interesting experience, along with workplace. My workplace has dramatically changed, and it's like a switch has been flipped in a very good way. I work in healthcare during the week, so Monday through Thursday, and we've had a really hard time getting quality, committed professionals. And I have spent the last 3 weeks training in my area, which is something that's never happened before. Usually my area is the last place they train anybody. And I've done 3 weeks in a row with 3 different of our new employees. And I am so pleased to announce that though COVID has really been hard on healthcare workers, some of the migration in healthcare has benefited us on the clinic end. And I've got some new coworkers that I just adore.
Oh,
great. Because my workplace had gone from a place where we were very close and very, very much a team to like some holdouts that just won't. And so we've had a huge turnover in management, and it's been.
So you've witnessed the Great Resignation.
Yes. Well, it's been, remember the old adage, that sometimes why do people go back to the same bad relationship? Why do people hang out with the same group of friends that aren't working? Well, because it's better to be with the known unhappy than with the not known.
The devil you know rather than the devil you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so hang on. I'm going to ask you because you've got strobe lights on you. Is that?
Oh, that's my overhead lighting. Do you want me to turn that off?
No. I was just wondering what's going on. You're all of a sudden you're looking very spooky.
It's always Halloween at my house, but it's been kind of. I've been drawing a lot of animals lately that I don't usually see because I live next to the river. So I had a white-tailed deer the other morning, and we don't, the white tail with the black around it, we usually don't get, and it was big. We usually have deer that are maybe the size of a Great Dane, and a Great Dane has more heft to them. So
that's the size of deer that we have here. We don't have mule deer. We have axis deer, and they're the size of a Great Dane, full grown, kind of.
I was really super surprised by that. And I have a new family of raccoons.
And
and the children of my favorite crow family. It's been really an interesting time all the way around.
New relationships with your critters. I will echo a little bit about finding the tribe. My workplace has been very stable and very chill and lovely. It's
come on, Jay.
No, there's no turnover. It's still just 2 of us at my workplace doing a retail space, and it's really smooth. I'm so grateful to be there. It's kind of my jewelry dream job. After 10-something years in jewelry, this is the place where I could see myself retiring. I really love it.
It's a marvelous store. It really.
But I don't have critters. The kitties next door that used to come over and visit me haven't been around much lately. So
that's odd.
Well, they're growing up. So I'm sure they're out cruising more. They're 3 years old now. So.
Mm-hmm. Looking for their own spot, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So the workplaces are covered, and you've got your critters. So where are you personally? I know for me, Gerald has a comment. I like to see the selfies with me and the jewelry. Oh, thank you, Gerald. I am happy to be there. It's a lot of fun. We're hoping to get some new fun pieces in this summer. So maybe there'll be some more selfies to come.
No, the jewelry at that store is magnificent. I could just like try stuff on and have you take pictures of me.
For hours, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I was hoping that I would have rekindled friendships and renewed social activity, and it hasn't gone that way.
Mm-hmm.
And even my water time has been significantly reduced. They moved the reef rescue days to the weekends, so I haven't been on a reef rescue for months, months and months.
That was
And
your jam.
yeah, that was definitely a big thing. But I did do some extra work this year, so I haven't been in the water that much at all. So I'm a little out of shape. Not drastic, but I think to do reef rescue, I need to tighten up a little bit.
Well, the pictures that they take of you while you're doing that are magnificent. If you diving down to the bottom of the ocean, it's amazing.
The water makes you look good. Let me tell you that. There's some kind of magic in the water. You always look better in the water than what you think. But I really thought I would be among friends and going out and doing things, and that hasn't happened. If anything, I'm spending just as much time alone this year as I was in the second half of last year. How about you?
Well, we made an effort to find a tribe, and I ride a motorcycle, so my tribe usually is a little different than everyone else's, and that was an interesting experience. Needless to say, they were not my tribe at all.
Yeah. But you guys joined the VFW hall too.
Oh, the
VFW.
I'm madly in love with the VFW.
Well, there you go. There's a little bit of a tribe.
I didn't think that would happen, and I miss it when I don't do my volunteering at the hall, doing breakfast, or we go to hang out to see what's going on. The VFW is, I don't know, there's something
that's really cool.
Well, there's a lot of, it's a lot of volunteering and doing a lot of things for the community, which is what I really enjoy. So I've gone back to the Patriot Guard, which is being present for military services, for
it's for burials, right? The Patriot Guard is when someone's remains are picked up and interred. Yes.
Well, we actually don't see most of the internments. What we end up to see the service where the family gathers, and most of the ones we do are cremations, but there have been some caskets involved, and we do it's a rolling honor guard, where say the remains, Kara just did one, and it was an amazing experience. The remains, the veteran was picked up at the airport and escorted by hearse with the family in a motorcycle procession and taken to Eastern Washington for burial. He was he had perished on the Arizona in Pearl Harbor and was recently identified.
Oh yeah, I read about we get that on the news here when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big deal here.
Well, those rolling honor guards are an amazing experience.
Yeah. Hey, hang on one second.
Hi.
Hi, Claire. Mwah. Happy you could join us.
Yep.
We're doing a little catch up on where we are this year. And we're going to be opening up for questions for readings here pretty soon. So we both have had kind of ups and downs in finding our footing socially. It sounds like, Penny, you're doing a lot better with.
Well, it's been interesting. I'm finding that what I thought I'd be doing, I'm really not doing, and it's actually okay that I've gone in a different direction. I'm doing the things that I love to do with the people that I love the most, and just cutting out the need.
The chaff from the wheat.
Yeah. And it wasn't, how should I say it? It's really finding your tribe is quite it's an interesting experience, because what I'm finding is that I don't know what it really is.
I don't know. For the Palmer girls, maybe it's not so much about finding the tribe as finding our inner tribe.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what it's coming down to for me.
Well, and it's the focus of, and it's the focus of doing what you love with, when you can, with the people that you enjoy doing it with. And it doesn't, that people you enjoy doing it with doesn't have to be 10 people or 6 people. It could just be one, or it could just be you.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoy my own.
I agree. That sounds like that. Well said, my dear.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shift gears a little bit here. We're at 1:15. When Penny came on, she really had just recently wrapped up a session with a client. And in case anybody doesn't know, Penny is an animal communicator. And she had a client with a recently passed pet. And that pet came through like a boss, and for a very recent crossing. And Penny also had contacted that pet on her own prior to the reading, right?
I always contact them in advance to say hello. I have found that when doing readings, it's like being in a relationship and you come home from work and your significant other wants to discuss problems in the relationship upon your first footstep in the door. It catches you unaware. Not only are you not prepared, but you don't know where they're coming from, and it's hard to articulate what you'd like to say in a loving manner when you have no time to prepare. Because I like to think about what I like to say, because I have the gift of the red shoe from my mother's side of the family. So
yeah, hoof and mouth disease. Yeah.
Mouth disease. So I find that when I contact them ahead of time and talk to them a little bit about what we're going to be talking about or what is expected, you know, if you only had one chance in your lifetime to talk to your people, to your loves.
Oh, Kyle, my witch's hat is right up above me. I wish I could reach up and grab it for you. Sorry.
So that's the way I look at it. And when I contacted her dog, she hadn't seen the light. She passed quickly and tragically and was stuck, turned the wrong direction.
Confused. Where am I? What's going on? What happened?
Exactly. So, had no idea what had happened at all.
So you reached out and contacted that pet, and the pet was lost and confused. And so what happened from that point?
Well, I got her attention. It was a little hard to get her attention. I got her turned around. You need to turn around, honey. Turn around. Do you see the light up ahead? And she was so far from the light that it was just like a dim light. It was, you know how you have a flashlight that's starting to go out? It kind of looks like that. But I got her turned around, got her pushed to the light so that she could kind of figure out what was going on. So I gave her a few days. And then
Gerald has insight on this. Gives the pets a chance to smell you and get to know you. Pets are very aware of human energy and intention. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And and I also give them permission, and I gave her, and I talked to her quite a bit this morning, and she asked what had happened to her, because she wasn't even aware what had happened in her passing. And I gave her time before our reading, a couple hours, so that she was able to integrate that to her message to her people and how she wanted her family to perceive what had happened and how to move forward.
And were you able to communicate with her very clearly? Did this energy come through strong, or what did it feel like? Because I know for me, sometimes people that are recently crossed um, don't really have a lot to communicate at first, because they'll be talking about um, being in kind of a processing
Well,
thing.
she actually told her person. She said oh, that
Jamie said she has a couple of critters that she misses very much.
I understand. I do.
Well, and guys, get ready to pop the questions in. We're going to be opening up here for stuff really quick. So
talk to those that you miss. She actually stated that she would have really preferred to wait a while because she was still confused, and she was sending me some confusing. The woman was asking very specific questions, and I had to get more information because I couldn't sort out the information that she sent it as one big glob of information, as opposed to this person.
right.
So gist of what we were supposed to be talking about for each person, but I needed more clarification because I would say, is the dog would send me blonde. And I'm like, well, is that child blonde? And she said, yes. Okay. Then we know we're talking about the right kid. Because the dog.
Well, but it would be also the way the animal would communicate it, because maybe she was a pet that didn't really process English language very well.
Actually, she's a very old soul and communicates very well. When asking her specifics about how she felt about her people, because she hadn't had a chance to process the emotions of, and because she was very clear that she had a different mission for each person in the family, things that she wanted them to do or to learn or to know from her, or things she was encouraging, yet it was really hard for her to kind of get that sorted out because she had not intended to leave the family so quickly.
Or at the time, right?
At time, yes. Yeah. We call it it was tragic.
Yeah. So she was able to come through. And how did that, because sometimes also for me, when I'm contacting people that are very recently crossed, and we talked about this a little bit before we came on, that as mediums, people that are wanting to reach out for that conversation sometimes want to do it very quickly after someone's passed. And I know for me, with humans that have been gone very recently, within few weeks or a month or so, sometimes there's not a whole lot of connection. It seems to me that for humans newly crossed, that bordering those dimensions can be a little bit trickier, and it's a little bit of a skill set to get accustomed to, and bridging that communication gap, but energetic communication gap, and really being able to focus and send the information, their thoughts, whatever it is that they want to send. And it seems to be a connection thing, that it takes a little practice. But not everyone, because I had an emergency reading recently with someone that had passed within a few days, that came through like a boss. And this was a person who wanted nothing to do with the psychic realm in this lifetime on Earth. Zero. Nothing. Didn't want anything. Came through like a boss on crossing. Kind of like our dad did. He came through like a boss too, right after he crossed.
Well, I find it really interesting that the energy of after the people cross is vastly different than the energy in life. And some of the I had this conversation with one of my clients about her mother and her father. Her mother has crossed, her father has not. There was a divorce. Mom was really, really resentful and wouldn't have anything to do with dad in real life. But when dad was in the hospital, mom was there, and she didn't understand why. And what I say is the energy of who and what we are after we cross, and how we see things in a different light, and how we process relationships, and how we forgive, and we remember what we fell in love with that person for to begin with, and the blessings that they gave them. They had many wonderful children, had wonderful children, and they were still there to support their spouse, even though they weren't speaking, and refused to speak to them before they passed when given the chance.
Yeah, the once on the other side, perspective shifts really fast. In my experience, what people held on to in life often shifts dramatically and pretty much straight away. So I love that. And we're almost at the half an hour. If anybody would like a mini reading, pop in your question. Better to do it all in caps. You guys know my mods limitations, but yeah, feel free, jump in if anybody would like a reading.
And the dog said she would have preferred to wait, but she thought it was important that she have the reading now for her
right people. For the people, and then had more to say at a different time. Yeah.
Well, they were, she wants the lady wants her dog back, because we all want our best specialist friend. I mean, this dog was a great communicator when she was alive. She would try to talk to her people, and I think her people got the gist of what she was saying, just not the finer points, whether she was agreeing or disagreeing.
Yeah,
it's really interesting, because
what I'm hearing is it would be like two people having a conversation that both had Romance languages as their native tongue, so they could kind of communicate, like someone from I don't know, someone that was a native Spanish speaker and someone that was a native French speaker, both Romance languages. So there's a lot of similarities, so they could kind of get through a conversation. That's what I'm getting.
Yes.
That one.
Yes, they were the family, the mom and dad and the family knew the dog was communicating, got the gist of the communications. They just didn't understand the nuances of the language.
Yeah.
So that worked to our advantage for this reading, because if she hadn't been such a good communicator in life, I would have, and I always ask them if they're ready. I won't do a reading with an animal if they're not ready, because you don't get anything.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Because
it's the same thing with humans. If cool. So hang on a sec. Jamie has something here. She says, I don't have a question, but I would love to know if one of my pups would come through.
Well, a name, kind of a look or something. Then we can just information.
Right. And so this goes for me too. Penny likes photographs, which obviously doesn't work out in this scenario. Penny likes a picture and likes some details. I myself to contact individual people, because when you think of contacting a non-physical being on demand, well, there's a lot of stuff up there that would be more than happy to come through. So for me, I don't do a photograph. I do first and last name, date of birth, and how long they've been crossed. And I'll have someone repeat their name 3 times after I get that information, because there's a lot of Aunt Sally's up there. Let's make sure we get the correct one. So I don't know. Let's just dial in and see if. Let's both of us dial in and see if we can have something. Oh, here we go. Jamie's got an answer. Marcus is a mini poodle who passed in October. Oh my gosh, my boss and best friend had to come to my house in hazmat gear to help him pass. Heavens.
Well, so I pulled some cards for the dog while we were waiting, and we're just going to go contribution. And then let's see. There's my reading chiming in. Innocence. And the shadow card, outer wisdom. really interesting pulls for the dog. So the message is, so this, oh, okay. Contribution. And what the, I was trying to pull it out here. What was the dog's name?
Marcus.
Marcus. Okay.
A mini poodle named Marcus.
And the dog just told me, how can you not get me? I'm a poodle. I mean, poodles usually have a pretty strong personality. So,
They do indeed.
Okay, you know, and Marcus just wants you to know that, yes, sometimes the timing isn't exactly what you've requested, but universally it was the correct time. Even though your boss had to come and help me, it also, I don't know how to say it because it's not really going to give me a point of reference that's better than that, please. Sometimes I have to filter out what's going on. It was,
yeah, I keep getting, this was a hands-off situation. This was a hands-off situation.
She was sick for a reason. And
the separation of all humans, everybody involved, Jamie's physical separation, but also just the suits, the layers in between, the layers in between, the touch. It was a hands-off situation, and it not necessarily not necessarily an accidental thing.
No, because he says if she had been present and physically, able,
cords
wouldn't have been able to pass because he wouldn't have gone for her.
Cords. That's the minute you said that. If Jamie had been able to touch, and that was that, I got just like an instant wolf of cords. Slowly gone blind and lost his hearing.
Well, those are hard because they get sundowners. I mean, they howl at night. And that's a really tough one. William went that way, Rebecca's pooch. And
but I'm getting this whole thing about cords, about the importance of and even with the other friends that came to assist in his crossing and his passing, that the cords would have stayed with them. It was because of the connection, because of the connection and the familiarity with all involved, this pet would not have been able to cross cleanly.
And innocence, that's, I think, and that's where innocence comes in, that I'm trying to look at that. Anyway, I got to just not look at that for a sec. So the innocence factor comes in, that also left everyone that was involved guilt-free, was his goal. He didn't want anyone to feel guilty at his path.
And he also wanted to be free in dog heaven, because there's things to attend to. And we didn't want a piece of ourselves lingering. We needed our full self over there.
Yes. Well, yeah.
So yeah. So I'll read this from Claire. Or I'm sorry. Hang on, Claire. We'll finish up with Jamie's. So what else about Marcus? Is there anything about Marcus?
Well, and that's where the outer wisdom card comes in, because, he's got stuff to do on the other side.
Yeah, but there's also, and I'm getting like a turnaround, like he's going to be coming back around pretty quick. And so it's like, it seems to me like he was on some kind of a time thing here. Like he needed to get things going, and it needed to be a clean break in that lifetime because he has other things to do. And it feels, and I just keep doing this because it feels to me like if this was Earth and he went to dog heaven, it's a full circle. It's a full circle. It's a full circle.
Well, yeah, he had a timeline and an agenda.
definitely.
He was a little man with a big attitude. I mean, he was a complete person no matter what his size. Is a
Yeah.
way to say that. Yep, he was a wise guy, and I hope you're wanting him back because he's coming back.
That's kind of what I feel like. It kind of
Yeah.
feels like he's coming back around. And I
Yeah.
was trying not to impose that on
I
that
know.
he was coming back to you, Jamie, but it feels like he's coming back pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it's not the usual 6 month. I mean, 6 months is a short time frame, but I get closer than that. We're looking closer like 3 months. It sounds like 3 to 6 months, maybe.
Yeah.
And because you got to remember, when we're talking time, from the ones that are on the other side, their timeline's very different than ours. So when they tell me a year, I tell people, well, a year could be 7 months to 16 months or more. We just don't know. It's kind of it's to help us gauge the time, right?
Well, you're
So
talking to the Chinese drama girl. One day in the realm of gods is 10 years on earth.
exactly, time is so
Yeah.
very time is different, and that's why I tell people, that's, if you're wanting your pooch back, you need to hurry up and discuss what you want him back as, because he says he's coming back as a little poodle, so hang on, sister.
That's interesting. I hope you plan on adopting another poodle, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Or I hope you
Yep.
plan on adopting another pet sometime soon. It does feel canine to me, doesn't? I'm because I'm getting not a cat. It's not going to be a cat.
No, and what he says is, now he wants to be really clear, Betsy, about this. He goes, he's coming back. She may not find him exactly when he comes back, but he's coming back.
Oh, and Jamie, he's mentioning to me your pigeon. I remember seeing in posts before that Jamie had a pigeon, and he's talking about the pigeon, that he's with the pigeon or he's seen the pigeon, and so yeah, he's had some kind of communication with the pigeon, like
Hmm.
like a elbow bump, like a "Hey there, pal." Yeah, that Jamie, she's all right, huh? Yeah, just kind of just like meeting for a drink. That's like they're clinking glasses too, like cheers.
Yep, she was good
Cheers.
to us. Yeah.
Awesome, cool. Let us know if there's anything more. I'm gonna go up here to Claire. Um, I've spent a lot of time at the vets this month and have been thinking of my spirit dogs, who I think have been close by to support us. Their names are Slippy, Custard, and Roma.
Your dogs that have passed in particular usually stay pretty close to their people.
I'm getting that they were communicating with your doggo throughout her distress. Um, I think your doggy is Poppy, yeah? Poppy, I think. But I'm getting that they were communicating and sending energy, because I know Claire, and I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I saw there was a post that the dog was very ill, and
Mm.
then just recently this amazing turnaround of the dog out in the park playing and bouncing, and
Oh, you're right.
yeah,
Hmm.
I'm thinking that the other pets sent her some vibes, sent her some shizzle,
Hmm.
because
Well, the other dogs were concerned that she couldn't handle another loss.
yeah, that this was definitely because it was not a good timing to have this kind of an upset for either, for
Hmm.
all of concern, that this there was it was just not right timing to have a big health crisis going.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, I remember in the post there was something about some intestinal stuff going on,
Hmm.
and it feels to me. So you check in and look around Poppy's guts and see what you see. I'm seeing that it's good. I'm seeing that it's cleared. Whatever was going on is cleared. Um,
Yeah, a lot of times they tell me they don't really know what was wrong, but she says it's better. It's like she said, I think I just ate something. And and what sometimes when they mean ate something, it could have been it feels like something that didn't digest.
Yeah, that's interesting because I was looking at kidneys and thinking, kidneys, that's usually a cat thing that they don't drink
Yeah.
enough water, but
Well, if they don't drink it, dogs don't drink enough water. If no one drinks enough water, they can't poop either.
yeah. Okay, so Addison's. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that can be really rough on a pet, Addison's, and I know it's something that a lot of canines it seems like there's a frequent diagnosis for Addison's with canines. Um it feels to me like, yeah, like she's made a really strong comeback and a really clean comeback on this one to just yeah, and again, I'm getting the kidneys and the water thing. I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing crystals. I know Addison's, there's something, it's painful for them. You got anything else on that, Penny?
What I get is that the dog was diagnosed just in the nick of time. It was like nick of time. And she said she wasn't ready to go, and she thanks the others that have helped her, the spirit dogs, because she said they were responsible for her being able to hang on.
Yeah.
What she's saying. And let's see. She says she feels a whole lot better. It sounds like she's had a change of diet, or there's been some improvements for her, so she's able to function better. Like if it's change of diet or medication, that's all. She's kind of giving me the whatever they're doing is working kind of thing. So
Yeah. Yeah, because Addison's doesn't go away. So
no,
it can be shifts, that well-timed shifts that can be very helpful.
yeah. So she says she's like, yep. It sounds like, oh yeah. Did you used to give her a lot of people food and now she doesn't get any? Because that's about the only complaint.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they're a dog that's charming and knows how to charm snacks away from people, that can definitely be something that can be in the mix.
Well, I heard, yeah, that sounds like there's been a huge change in the healthy shift in the household because of this. She says, which is not a bad thing, but
Gerald had to dash. Thanks,
Hi,
Gerald. Thanks for coming. Yeah, cool. And so this is another interesting thing about being a medium is okay, Claire says we're eating now and she is by the table.
Of course she is. And she's probably on a ban from people food.
Yeah. So again, this is a really interesting thing about being a medium is beings that are in a form on Earth can communicate with us. So yeah, I know I have gotten messages from the sitting Pope before. And so there's that.
Now, you mean a person pope or an animal pope?
No, a person, the
Okay.
Pope in Rome, the Vatican.
Okay. I have
Yeah. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it was in Sedona when I was interviewing for a reader's job, and the store manager, I had to read. Oh, no pressure, right?
Yeah, no pressure there.
No pressure. And yeah, the Pope came through in that one, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so living beings do come through and communicate with us just as crossed over beings do. And sometimes for me, living beings can really beam things through strongly. It seems like there's not that much effort required.
Well, I did a reading. I thought I wanted to do like the animal psychic line. And so I read for the woman that was in charge of the line. And instead of getting her dog, I talked about her ex-boyfriend that was stalking her.
Oh.
The ex-boyfriend that she couldn't get rid of. So
Oh.
yeah, she's like, it really surprised her that I got that, because that's what the conversation that was coming through, that, you know, that she thought she had gotten rid of him, but he was rolling back around. She just didn't, he had never, I mean, he wasn't really stalking her, you know, like murder mystery on.
Lurking. He was lurking.
He was lurking. He had never cut the cord with her, and he was getting ready to come, you know, they always roll back around. He was getting ready to roll back around.
Yeah.
So
I got
really in it. Yeah. So sometimes you don't know what you get when you're sifting through the ethers, right?
Yeah, and you know that does happen. Because when for me, if I'm given the name, birth date, and how long someone's been gone, I can go there. If somebody doesn't want to provide details of a question or a person and just wants to hear what their guides have to say, there's no telling that what comes up. So Claire says, thank you so much. I have to go. I'm breaking the no phone at the dinner table rule. Okay, thank you for coming, Claire. Mwah.
Bye.
Have a great night. Um, so yeah, there's no telling what will come through if things aren't really that specific. So I can imagine if you sat down or if you had a reading with that person, and they probably wouldn't want to give you a whole lot of details because they would want to authenticate you. And so what came through is surprise.
Yep.
Because I know that that will happen to me too. I will tell people if you come to a reader without a question or without something specific, for me, that's when I say, well, then here's a pen and some paper and get ready to take notes, because the guides are about to assign you homework, because they're going to tell you, your spiritual team is going to tell you what they want you to be working on at this time to progress your spiritual deepening.
Well, and that, Betsy, that rolls right back around to what we were talking about keeping our bliss in a challenging world. How do we keep our bliss? Because that's one of the conversations that's been really interesting. And when we, you know, as mediums and as communicators, sometimes we do some challenging work. I tell people, if you're shopping at the shelter or with a rescue and you send me pictures of dogs, I can help you sort through, you know, who might be the best fit for your family. And of course, no dog ever tells me they're a bad dog. I haven't met one yet, but I've met some that would be better with some family or another. And so that's what I've been doing for the last couple of days, is for a friend of mine on the East Coast is looking at shelter dogs. And these are, it's a really interesting thing, because after doing this, I'm sad because I want a dog so very badly. Miss that energy in my life. My favorite dog that my neighbor's dog he crossed over last year. So I'm really miss that dog energy in my life. So how do I reconcile, you know, I need some dog energy and I need something positive, because I'm a little far from the situation, you know, to see that positive resolve of which one she chooses, which one she's going to get, and all that great kind of stuff. What I end up doing is I did a small kindness for someone else that
So
was unexpected and not asked for.
So yeah, So when feeling not particularly peaceful, a little bit unsettled.
Mm-hmm. Wanting to know what the outcome is before the outcome, because I'm really invested in everybody
Yeah.
getting a home that they love, that they're going to love, you know, and moving forward with that, or their placement, because this woman is she's done wonders in rescue. So I mean, I've helped her with placing some of the rescues she's taken in.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that. That's the fun stuff. Because she told me we had one that was this really adorable beagle, and I don't know about this person that she was thinking about adopting them to. I said it's not what you think it is. I think it's going to be fine. And then she sent me a picture 2 weeks later of this dog sprawled out in this person's bed. You know,
oh,
which is the happiest picture you could ever receive from a dog.
well, that's really cool. What a fun avenue
Mhm.
as working as a psychic is to help pets choose their forever home. I had never thought of anything like that, man. That's pretty cool.
Well, that's the stuff. I mean, when I mean,
That comes with the territory, and I
yeah.
get it now. I hadn't ever thought about it, but I'm really happy for you that that's a part of your work.
Well,
Man, that's great.
it started out in the beginning. That's how I met one of my friends here. Here was she received a foster dog 2 minutes, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes before they were putting matching outfits on and walking on a stage. She's never met this dog. It's this dog's best shot at being adopted because there's a lot of people there. They're the first people in the fashion show. Can you imagine?
It was a dog fashion show.
It was a dog fashion show, and they put some floppy raincoat or something on this dog that would freak out a lot of dogs. And they had these matching coats on. And she said, "Talk to my dog." And I went, "No problem." She goes, "I just got this foster dog. Help me." I told the foster dog, "Okay, I know you're new at this, but you're the first one in the fashion show. You got the best shot of finding the best family ever. People are here to adopt dogs, honey. Go for it." That dog shone. That dog was adopted in like 20 minutes.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, she didn't have that dog very long. It was, I mean, sometimes just a slight communication to say, "Look, I know this is confusing, but you're here to be adopted. So if you want a new family, put your best foot forward." That dog was a rock star. So those are the successes. Those are
That's really cool.
success stories to hold on to. And so, that's
So isn't that interesting? And you know, we're humans. We're tribal beings. We think our happiness is going to come in finding our group, but really, now that to me is the kind of happiness that can't be topped right there.
yes. Well, and sometimes things like this pop up a lot, even when I'm working in my regular day job. My, um, I'm the doctor that I work for, her dog comes in loud and clear because we've had enough communications that he'll pop in.
Friend.
She was talking. She goes, "Oh, I'm thinking about getting another dog," and all I hear is no. Because how should I say it? I can't help but not be available to those that we've communicated and touched.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, for the past 15 minutes, I've been hearing someone rattling around in my head like, can you tell my story? Can you tell my story? It is completely unrelated to anything that we're talking about. But they're like, you got to tell them about how I did this. So I guess I better so I don't get dirty lickings all day in my head.
Yep.
We've got about 5 minutes left. I'll keep it brief, but this particular person is really wanting to kind of show themselves off about this one. I had some lovely clients at my place, and I can't even. It was before COVID. Okay, it was before COVID. They were visitors to Maui, and they came over to my place, and they wanted to contact someone who had crossed by their own means.
Mm-hmm.
And I, yeah, it was an OD. Thanks for reminding me. It was an OD.
Mm-hmm.
So the person came through with their message, and it was a great session. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of weeks or a couple of months later, I got a call from these same people that there was
Mm-hmm.
a friend of theirs missing,
Ooh.
and nobody could figure out where they were. They had been gone for a week or so, and nobody knew where they were. And so the friend that had come through in the reading
Mm-hmm.
came through and said they found him. Um, but here was the gist: the person was unable to communicate. They were lying down flat, and it seemed like they were in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
That it seemed like they had maybe ingested something,
Mm.
and and our friend said, I'm shaking him by the shoulders, and I can't wake him up. I can't
Oh.
wake him up. So
Oh.
I never did hear any more back from them, but it
Mm-hmm.
was just, again, the longer I do this job, the less I'm sure of, because I had no idea that a soul would come through in an assistance like that,
Mm-hmm.
trying to help them with someone who is missing.
Mm.
Uh, so I don't know if that meant the person had crossed and they didn't know where they were and were lost and couldn't even communicate on a soul level, or
Mm.
if it was someone who was unconscious somewhere and wasn't able to communicate for themselves. I don't know exactly any more details on that, but to have that helper come through and say, I could see it clearly. He had
Yeah.
his hands on the guy's shoulders, shaking him, and couldn't wake him up. I can still see it.
Well, and that's what I tell people. I'm like, when I started communicating intentionally, because we did it as children, always did, and I said, the longer I do this, the I'm it changes how I feel about a lot of things in my life. I mean, things that I didn't choose to believe in before, I now choose to believe in now, because those that have crossed over tell me so. And if, is it reincarnation or is it collective unconsciousness? I don't know. I don't care. It feels the same to me. So,
Mm-hmm. The
what?
amount of wonderful things I have learned in doing this work is something that I struggle to
Mhm.
even communicate well,
Yeah.
because it really has shifted my perspective about how I see the world, but it's also changed how I live in the world, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I know. Well, I was training yesterday this delightful nurse that worked on a COVID ward for a while and then had switched to something else, I think obstetrics, and in the hospital scene, still very stressful. And she was just looking for some downtime someplace else. And thus she came to us. And she's like, she said to me yesterday, she goes, it's kind of like being with you is kind of like being on The Price is Right. And I just kind of laughed, and I said, well, because the door, come on in, you know
Oh, okay.
my best Vanna White routine, and I'm fun and
Welcoming. Yeah, I got you.
welcoming, and I have a good time with my patients in an appropriate manner. It's like, I said, it
It,
I said, it doesn't have to be boring. I said, you'll remember more if we're having a good time. I mean, it
yeah,
doesn't have to be horrible. It
it
doesn't have to
doesn't.
be horrible at all. It can be welcoming, fun, and inviting.
Like
Um,
I love to say, suffering is optional.
hmm Yeah. It's
And and actually, with that, we are at the end of the show.
I know.
So, um, Yeah, I thank everyone that popped in, Jamie and Gerald and Claire and Kyle. Thank you all so much for coming in.
Yep.
Again, this is just our first reboot. We're going to be doing this on the first Fridays. Bring your questions. We're going to always be doing mini readings. There won't be as much chat on the next one because we just had some catching up to do.
Yep.
So Penny, stay on with me, and I'm going to say to everyone, thanks again, and we'll see you next time. A hui ho.